I was recently on a podcast called Free Talk Live to discuss a cryptocurrency spreading across the Caribbean, specifically St. Martin, where the head of parliament is accepting his full salary in Bitcoin Cash and where hundreds of businesses are accepting Bitcoin Cash as well. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, why Bitcoin Cash and not something like Bitcoin? Isn't Bitcoin worth more money? Don't more people use Bitcoin? What the hell happened in St. Martin? Well, it turns out I was in St. Martin when St. Martin started using cryptocurrency. And I was there to document basically all of it. I went onto a podcast called Free Talk Live to discuss it with the hosts. And in this video, I wanted to share with you that discussion so you can find out why Bitcoin Cash came to St. Martin. And again, not something like Bitcoin. And also share exactly how it happened and probably what's next. If you like cryptocurrency, if you like Bitcoin, you're not gonna want to miss this video. By the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm Marc Falzon and I do beginner-friendly crypto videos. So with that said, let's go back in time and find out what happened in St. Martin with cryptocurrency.
Tell us about what was going on down in El Salvador, which for listeners who may be new to the show, it was in September of last year when the El Salvadoran government mandated that Bitcoin be accepted as legal tender in El Salvador. And Marc Falzon, that's Marc with a C, Marc Falzon went down there and checked it out for himself. In fact, Marc, you were down there on day number 1, were you not?
Yeah, I was actually down there a few weeks before it even rolled out, and then I stayed there a few weeks after. So I had kind of a good experience of everything as far as leading up to the rollout of Bitcoin and also the aftermath.
Yeah, and I don't want to rehash too much of that because you did call us about it before, and you've even made a full-on documentary film about it, which people can go and get. Oh, you know what? Give me 1 second here. We are not on our satellite connection, so that is my bad, and now we are. Apologies to our radio listeners out there. I dropped the ball on that one, so we're all set now. Anyway.
That's rare.
Let me reintroduce him. Marc Falzon is with us here, and he is the guy who has done a documentary film about what's going on down in El Salvador with the experiment that is, well, let's just say there's some mixed reviews on this thing. They, on one hand, are definitely thumbing their nose at the IMF and the central banks of the world, and I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for that. But on the other hand, they're mandating that people accept Bitcoin, and that to me is a major turnoff.
Yucky.
It's like trying to force democracy on people who wouldn't vote for it.
Yeah. So now, Marc, the law itself down there in El Salvador does say that everyone has to accept Bitcoin if they're in business, but supposedly that's not being enforced, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, there hasn't been any enforcement. There's no one that's been arrested or charged with it. But with that said, the law is still pretty clear. And just because right now in this moment of time there's no enforcement doesn't mean at any minute they can't throw down the book.
Right, or selectively enforce it on people who are politically unpopular.
I was just about to say they'll probably use this sort of a law on selectively on their opponents. So if somebody tries to, I don't know, run for office maybe against the president of El Salvador, they'll use it against them.
Could be.
I think they just whack them down there.
Yeah.
Is that how it works in El Salvador?
Well, that was one of the things that I think you discussed in your documentary, which I've not watched the full documentary yet, but I've definitely seen some of it. And that is that this president down there, for all, how he presents himself as Mr. Cool Guy with a backwards hat and, acting like he's cool Bitcoin bro, he's also a total, authoritarian statist and has his political opponents arrested for no reason whatsoever.
Standard operating procedure.
Yeah. So, Marc, like I said, I didn't want to have you here to rehash what's going on in El Salvador. That experiment continues. What I was really interested in hearing from you about tonight was the Bitcoin Cash experiment that is now going on in St. Martin's, and it looks like also St. Kitts and Nevis, which are some of the Caribbean islands that have just exploded with Bitcoin Cash acceptance on a voluntary basis by merchants, taxi drivers, all kinds of stores and shops all across the island, all the way up to even like a large grocer, it looked like.
Yeah.
And you were one of the guys on the ground there. You made a 24-minute documentary, which I have watched, and it's very interesting, on your YouTube channel, which is simply, I believe, called Marc Falzon, Falzon, and again, it's Mark with a C. So folks can check that out. But a tremendous level of adoption. St. Martin's with a population of, I think you looked it up, Chris, 76,000 or something like that.
Sounds about right.
With well over 100.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the size of Cheshire County here, which is really small.
Yeah, and we like to brag about Keene, New Hampshire being one of the highest places as far as per capita businesses accepting Bitcoin
in the United States.
It looks like St. Martin's is kicking our butt right now with a much higher per capita businesses accepting. What attracted you there in the first place? Kind of tell us your stories. To obviously you left or El Salvador at some point and ended up in the island. So what happened?
Yeah, well, first off, let me just say, it's just so funny from my perspective after being in El Salvador and making my documentary there. There was just this negative pressure always on me, right? And of course, there was spyware put on to the phones of journalists that were speaking out, and I was one of the people doing that, so I was always worried. Going from that to being in St. Martin and St. Kitts, where everything is positive and everything is wonderful, and there's no mandates, no enforcement, that has just been black and white, so it has felt like a vacation. But as you mentioned, I've had a really incredible opportunity to experience the rollout, I shouldn't say rollout, but the expansion of Bitcoin Cash across both of these islands, really in just a period of 2 months. And the reason that it started happening is I was following Reddit, and on Reddit I started noticing that there was more and more merchants that were taking Bitcoin Cash in St. Kitts. And I said, okay, well, that's interesting. I should go there and see what's going on. And that's what I did. I flew down, and I wanted to get the story and see why are these people in the middle of the Caribbean all starting to use Bitcoin Cash all of a sudden? Is it just hype, or are locals using it? What's the story? So that's what brought me down here to begin with.
Yeah, I'm interested in that as well. Now, Roger Ver has been a longtime supporter of Free Talk Live, going way, way back. Since before he was Bitcoin Roger Ver, he was Memory Dealers Roger Ver, and he used to sell computer RAM.
I remember that.
Wholesale computer RAM, and he was an advertiser with us back then, and he actually found out about Bitcoin by listening to this show. So we're still friends with Roger, and Bitcoin.com still a sponsor here on Free Talk Live. So I happen to know that Roger spends some number of months in the year in St. Kitts. In fact, he left the United States a decade ago and rescinded his U.S. citizenship, and then got himself the St. Kitts citizenship. And so he does spend a lot of time there. So, of course, my immediate thought was, oh, St. Martin's is right next door to St. Kitts? Okay, well, Roger Ver is highly involved in whatever is going on over there. So I imagine that's part of the story.
You know what? That is the story you'd expect. And while there is truth in it, Roger obviously does have involvement. It turns out that the widespread adoption of Bitcoin Cash in St. Kitts and St. Martin has actually very little to do with Roger himself.
Really?
And that shocked me. Yeah. I'm very happy I got to call in to kind of tell the broader story. But I got to meet Roger for the first time when I came down here. And of course, like I said, he is involved in some degree. But really the story down here in St. Kitts and St. Martin is not a story about Roger. It's a story about a man named Sunny Gahani. I'm not sure if that's a name you've come across.
Was he one of the guys in your?
Active.
Was he one of the guys that was featured in your documentary? The 24-minute one.
He appeared. He's the Indian man who was playing the Robbie's lottery ad.
Okay, yeah, the guy with the big glasses. Okay.
Yeah, he's a little ostentatious with how he dresses, but yeah, that's him. So his story, I'll tell you kind of briefly.
Yeah.
He came over from India, came to St. Martin. That's the key. Came to St. Martin and got a job selling, I don't know what it was, a very low-level job, working his way up. A decade later, he built himself a little business, comes over to St. Kitts. starts
Hold
building a
that thought,
business
Mark.
and,
Stick with us.
Yep.
We're going to continue, and you're going to tell us more of the story of how St. Martin's became what appears to be right now the number one place on the planet for local acceptance of cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin Cash in this case. But I don't think there's anywhere else on the planet that rivals this. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. We got more with Marc Falzon on the way. This is Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live. The phones are open. If you want to join the show, you can. Although right now, you can only get on the air if you have a question for Marc Falzon about his experience. You can ask him about El Salvador. We're also got another crypto guy joining us tomorrow night to talk about his experience in El Salvador. He'll actually be in the studio with us. He's visiting Keene right now. He's doing some, I guess, documentary shooting for kind of exploring New Hampshire and the crypto options here. But we've got Marc Falzon on with us. Again, he's got a YouTube channel. It's Mark with a C, Falzon. You want to pull him up, and you can find his latest documentary, 24-minute documentary about St. Martin. Is it the crypto capital of the world? And I dare say that from what I've seen so far, it sure looks like it. If you look at not only the raw number of Bitcoin Bitcoin Cash in this case, accepting businesses, but if you look at it per capita, then I can't imagine anywhere could possibly be topping it. And Mark is back on the show here with us. Mark, you were just getting into kind of giving us some of the history on how this happened, and you say it wasn't Roger Ver that was responsible for this. He certainly lives in the area, but there was another guy named Sonny who you said was from India that migrated there?
Yeah, so long story short, Sonny came over to St. Martin, which will play a part in the story, obviously. He spent a decade there, then came over to St. Kitts. In St. Kitts, he grew a business and became one of the alcohol distributors. So he's connected with all of the restaurants, a lot of the hotels, all the bars. So what ended up happening is Sonny Gahani learned about Bitcoin Cash from Roger. And when he learned about it, because he had no idea what crypto was or how any of this worked, he realized the potentiality of it, which is, I'm sure is what you realized, what I realized, what even Roger realized when he listened to your show to learn about Bitcoin, which at that time was functioning as what Bitcoin Cash functions now.
Right.
And everything from there happened quick. So Sonny, being connected with all of the businesses and restaurants and bars here, and of course knowing people like the ministers, and it's a small community, in less than 2 weeks, not an exaggeration, in less than 2 weeks, Sonny Gahani himself had onboarded over 100 businesses in St. Kitts and Nevis to accept Bitcoin Cash.
That is impressive.
It is all about who you know.
Right?
That's amazing.
Well, who you know, and also was he offering to take Bitcoin for wholesale purchases from his business?
Bitcoin Cash?
Or Bitcoin Cash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's a big part of it. So now all of the businesses and restaurants that purchase from him, they can start accepting Bitcoin Cash and close the loop
Smart.
by purchasing their product from Sonny.
That's amazing. And you said this took him 2 weeks. So how long ago was this 2 weeks compared to where we are right now?
I think it would have been, maybe 2 or 3 months ago when this first started happening.
Wow.
And so you caught wind of this. How did you find out what was going on over there?
Well, there was posting online on Reddit of new businesses that were starting to accept Bitcoin Cash. And, of course, in the Telegram groups, there's just a lot of chatter. Whenever there's someone accepting Bitcoin Cash, the word gets out, and I started hearing Kitts, St. Kitts, St. Kitts, St. Kitts. What is going on in St. Kitts? So it was something that I wanted to go see. And when I got down here, I think, I'm not sure how many businesses there were. I think there must have been around 40 at the time that I arrived. And then a week later, there were another 60 that was added to the bin.
Amazing. And you were part of that, it looked like, from the video, the documentary, the 24-minute one that you just put up on YouTube a few days ago. It looked like you were helping cab drivers get installed with the point-of-sale system. And you're using, or they're using the Bitcoin.com. They've got some kind of an app, right?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing, I was involved in both the St. Kitts and the St. Martin. By the time that I arrived, I was documenting, but I was also introducing Bitcoin Cash to both individuals and businesses. And one of the things that we did is we found, okay, well, there's some businesses that are interested in accepting Bitcoin Cash, but they're really not able to. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have, a boss who's working at a restaurant needs to be there to accept Bitcoin Cash. Mm-hmm. Now, luckily, there's a free app called the Bitcoin Cash Register app, and you can download it on any device and then accept Bitcoin Cash payments, which then goes to the owner's phone. So we helped install that on business devices that either the restaurants had or businesses had, or we would just go bulk buy tons of really inexpensive Android phones, preload them with the Bitcoin Cash Register app, and then just give them to the businesses.
Sure. Yeah, we did that stuff here in Keene, though we were using AnyPay, which was is software that is created by some of our friends here in New Hampshire. And it does Bitcoin Cash and Dash and the original Bitcoin and a couple other cryptos. One of the issues that we ran into with AnyPay on occasion was because they were using servers, sometimes there were some problems behind the scenes, and it would make for a difficult transaction with customers. Do you know if the Bitcoin Cash Register app is bypassing any servers and do you know how the technicals are working there? Is it something that is pretty rock solid as far as reliability is concerned?
Yeah, so I know a fair bit about the behind the scenes of the Register app. Effectively, the only thing it's calling from is the current price of Bitcoin Cash. Mm-hmm. But if the phone is not online, let's say the restaurant, their Wi-Fi goes out, they can still accept Bitcoin Cash because the QR code that's displayed, the address, is the owner's. That's programmed into the phone. Mm-hmm. So the owner can still accept Bitcoin Cash payments even if the register device or the phone is off.
So that's nice.
Off the Wi-Fi.
I'm actually a software developer, and that is more or less the solution that I recommended as a replacement to AnyPay.
So I am kind of curious, how does that work in terms of showing, indicating that the payment was sent and accepted, right? Like, does it show paid on the cash register app?
Great question. So the answer to that is if it's on the internet, it's on Wi-Fi, it does.
Okay.
If it's not, if you send a payment to a Bitcoin Cash Register app when it's off Wi-Fi, then the sender's phone will obviously say it's sent. The Bitcoin Cash Register won't register. It won't know that the payment went through.
Obviously,
the screen doesn't turn green.
Right.
But when we onboard the businesses, we always tell them. And just today, actually, I went to a place where their internet was down and bought my lunch with Bitcoin Cash. Nice. And they just called the owner and said, "Did it go through?" And yes, it went through.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Very cool. So there's so many businesses there. You mentioned all these restaurants, bars. This guy that Sonny, that is one of the liquor dealers down there, is setting all these people up. Can you at this point eat every single meal and pay with Bitcoin Cash there on St. Martin's?
Yeah, I'm going to say 100 businesses in a place that only has 80,000 people or so. That's got to be most of your businesses, right?
Well, I doubt
it's not just that you can eat. It's not just that you can eat anywhere. It's that you can do everything.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The number is 603-283-6160. If you got a question about what it's like being on what may be the highest accepting of cryptocurrency as far as per capita and maybe even just raw numbers of businesses on the planet, it looks like it's St. Martin and St. Kitts, which are two relatively small population islands in the Caribbean, east of Puerto Rico. We were just checking out the map to refresh us on where these are located. There's a gentleman who has been talking with us about it, Marc Falzon. That's MarcFalzon. He's got a YouTube, and I'd asked him a moment ago if he has an Odyssey channel yet, because we are streaming on Odyssey. We still have a YouTube, but they keep banning us from time to time. So we may not be here tomorrow on YouTube, but if you always want to see us, you can always go to video.freetalklive.com, which takes you straight to our Odyssey channel, and you can follow us there. And when I actually picked up the phone after we went to the break there, Mark, and you have heard of Odyssey, and you had it sort of on your back burner to go and secure yourself the Marc Falzon Odyssey channel, and so it sounds like you're going to do that soon.
Yeah, that'll be up to. I actually had an Odyssey temporarily, but I lost my access to it, and they took it down, and it just haven't got a chance. Well, I've had plenty of chances to getting up, but you've given me the extra fire to just get that done this week.
Yeah, we really love the library technology that is behind Odyssey. Sort of was how Odyssey was founded. Odyssey has gone a little more centralized just to encourage people to use the service and make sure they give it it's got the appropriate download speeds and everything. But ultimately, it is based on the library media protocol, which is an uncensorable media sharing protocol that some of our friends here in New Hampshire put together, and Jeremy Kaufman, of course, the founder of Library. The SEC is targeting them. They've been dealing with threats from the SEC for 4 years now. So they're just an amazing group of freedom of speech loving people. So glad to hear that you're heading in that direction. So let's go back into what's happening in St. Martin's, where there's well over 100 businesses on the Bitcoin map. You can go to map.bitcoin.com. I think it was over 120 businesses there in St. Martin, and about the same amount in nearby St. Kitts, which is the island just to the south. You were going to kind of describe, not only can you eat at local restaurants day and night and basically survive off of Bitcoin Cash on this island, but you can do a whole lot more. And you were about to tell us kind of like a day in the life, or what are some of the things you've done.
Well, it's not that you can survive here, it's you can thrive here with Bitcoin Cash. Effectively, everything is available. You can rent a car here with Bitcoin Cash. Lawyers accept it. Jennifer Harding Marlin is a citizenship by investment lawyer who accepts it. You can get your COVID test here and go see a doctor here with Bitcoin Cash.
Wow.
Everything
How about a hooker?
you think of.
Yeah, the hooker's what I really want to know about.
I don't know this from personal experience, but I've heard that, yes, there are. That is an option.
All right, you sold me.
My girlfriend might be listening. So.
Quick question on the Register app. Do you know if it's open source?
I believe it is.
Nice.
All right, so you guys got a grocery store chain there too, so you can seriously go. You don't have to eat out. You can go to an actual grocer, and I saw you in the aisles in this documentary. This isn't some little bodega or like a tiny little shop. This is a massive grocer, right?
It's the real deal. It's the real deal. Now, here's the thing. If it's okay, I'll jump in. One of the things with cryptocurrency adoption is it's great when people accept it, right? It's really wonderful when businesses take it. But what is it really about? It's about locals using it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you a quick anecdote. There's a coffee shop here that I love to go to. And I went in there recently. I think it was in one of my recent videos. And I bought a coffee. I said, "Are you getting any Bitcoin Cash sales?" He said, "Oh, yeah, of course." Well, are they all travelers, tourists, or are they locals? No, they're local. So that's the question I ask everyone when I go to these businesses. Are you getting locals that are coming in to use it? And they are.
I'm glad you asked that, because that was going to be I'm glad you even went there, because that was going to be one of my tough questions was, all right, this is just Sonny and Roger and Mark, right? I mean, you're the only three on the island that are going around and spending it. And, the 6 months from now, if we call half these businesses, they'll have quit taking Bitcoin Cash. You're saying this is real, that there's actual people on the ground, normal islanders, townies, as we would call them here in New Hampshire, that are into this. They're getting paid, some of them in Bitcoin Cash. Their businesses are taking it in, and they're spending it around town. Yeah,
exactly. And one of the things that some people are doing here is they're taking a percentage of their paycheck in cryptocurrency. So they might not take all of it, but they might take even a small percentage.
Yeah, we were just talking about off air about how we noticed there weren't any crypto vending machines on the island, at least not that are on the map, which is why I was wondering, where are they getting this crypto from?
So, with St. Martin, they don't need crypto ATMs because there's a place there called Robbie's Lottery that is I believe they're a money exchange, and all of their locations, they have tons of them all over the island where people can go buy lottery tickets but can also exchange Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's right, because it's a tourist spot, so they're going to have money exchanges.
Sure. That's sweet.
Mm-hmm. And it works both ways. So you can give them USD, you can give them Bitcoin Cash, you can go either direction. And
Wow.
all the Robbie's Lotteries do it.
And was it Sonny that had the connection there too and got them hooked up?
Yep, exactly.
Killer.
Sonny knows the Robbie of Robbie Lottery, so he was able to set all that up. I mean, everyone likes to say, okay, well, it's Roger. No, it really isn't.
It was Sonny.
It's one guy named Sonny. Now, let me give you a little bit of inside information. What's happening in St. Kitts and what's happening in St. Martin, next time you get a chance, go to maps.bitcoin.com and look at India.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Sonny is right now.
Oh, okay.
And that map is turning green really fast.
Nice.
That's amazing. Well, of course, he's going back there, and he's got his family and his old friends there that he's got connections with, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, India's got way more people living in it than St. Martin's and St. Kitts, so it's still going to be per capita. I think these islands are going to be the game to beat.
Yeah, and India is cracking down on their crypto, from what I've heard. So,
What are they cracking down
right.
on?
I'm trying to think what they did.
Exchanges,
They're taxing it or something, and they won't let you deduct it from your, like, if you make a gain from it, they won't let you deduct your losses. So it's like, normally, like, if you have an asset, you can deduct your losses, and you can't do that with crypto in India now. So it kind of like it screws anybody over who's got crypto.
Is that what you've heard, Mark? Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I've heard some of those things too. I don't know to what degree they're really trying to block crypto, but they're not making it easy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. India is actually the next location that I'm going to be going to do another kind of crypto documentary.
So, speaking of governments, one of the aspects that you covered in your documentary about St. Martin's was this government guy. I'm not sure what exactly his role is there, but he seemed to have some sort of ranking. This dude that he's now going to be apparently the very first government official to accept his full paycheck in Bitcoin Cash. And that apparently has never happened before. I remember the New York mayor made a big deal about taking his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin, but then I guess he changed back to cash. But this guy is taking full on.
And this is not a small amount of money. I looked it up. It's a 6-figure salary that he gets.
Yeah, he gets big salary there. So tell us a little bit about connecting with him and what that could possibly lead to as far as, political acceptance of cryptocurrency on the island.
Well, that's a whole big story. So the guy's name is Rolando Bryson. Very young politician, and actually a lot of the ministers of the country are. So they're fairly open-minded. Not that you can't be open-minded if you're not a young guy, but
it helps.
It is what it is. So he is the head of parliament. So he's not just some random minister. This guy is the mover and shaker there. And one of the things that's
Prime
so
Minister?
exciting about...
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us. You can dial in at 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Although if you've got a question for Marc Falzon, you'll be given priority. If you got something else to talk about, we will get to the rest of the show, which of course is open phones, as it will always be here on Free Talk Live. So we'll do that here in moments. We still have Marc Falzon on with us. He is a YouTube documentarian. He's been following around the Bitcoin world for the last little while. Went to El Salvador, did a hour-and-a-half long documentary on what's been happening down there, and just recently released about almost a half-hour long documentary on St. Martin's and the incredible adoption by local businesses in St. Martin's, which is a very, very small island, less than 75,000 in population, and yet over 100 businesses on the map at map.bitcoin.com as accepting Bitcoin Cash. And he's kind of telling the story about how all that happened here. And you were just about to get into this Rolando Bryson, who is, you said, the head of parliament there in St. Martin's, which is apparently somehow related to the Dutch. Not sure exactly if they're like a territory. Do you know what the relation is there?
Yeah. I was listening to your show, I think, last week when you're talking about it. So the way it works is St. Martin is two islands that are divided in half, and they're both St. Martin, but they're spelled either in the Dutch way or in a French way. So the French side is part of France. Same government, same everything. The Dutch side, they have a little bit more autonomy.
Wait, you said it's part of France?
Yeah, so the French side, if you're French, you can live there.
Huh.
It's not. It's part of France. Same with St. Bart's. There's a few islands that are French. So the French side is the French side, and then there's St. Martin, which they have their own government. They have their own voting abilities. They have some autonomy, and they're connected with the Dutch.
So which side is the northern? Is the northern side the French side or the southern side?
I think it's the northern side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So is there like a big gate or a fence between the two, or is immigration pretty easy?
It's pretty easy, yeah. And Bitcoin Cash, luckily, has kind of jumped the fence too, so to speak, and it's in both sides.
Okay.
But mostly in the Dutch side.
Okay, got it. So when you were there, did you spend most of your time on the southern side of the island?
I spent a fair amount of time there, but Sonny's connections didn't really get him into the French side. I actually am a French citizen, so I did some onboarding myself personally over on the French side.
Neat. So the MP, the gentleman you're talking about, Rolando, he's the MP of the southern side of the island, of the Dutch side?
Exactly. Yeah.
And he was speaking in English. It seemed like everyone in the video was speaking in English. Is it a pretty dual lingual place? Lots of English speaking there?
It's pretty much primarily English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about this guy, this Rolando, and you said he's very young. A lot of the MPs there are young. How'd you get connected? How did they get connected with him, and what inspired him to be the first politician on the planet to accept his entire paycheck in cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin Cash? I mean, that was pretty impressive, I have to admit.
So I'll give you a page of the playbook, the strategy. If you want to roll Bitcoin Cash, really any cryptocurrency into any country, here's exactly what to do. The first thing to do is you get the small businesses to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Small little one-party businesses that, there's not a lot of bureaucracy. After you get 30 or 40 of those, you can start getting a few of the big names, a small grocery chain. Once you start going through these rings, then you can start approaching people who are the real movers and shakers. Now, in St. Martin, that was Rolando, who, of course, Sonny knows. Sonny knows everyone.
Sure.
The guy is the biggest networker you've ever met in your life. So when we approach Rolando, hey, look what's happening. Look at all these businesses. Look at all the stickers. Go in yourself. Give them $20. Go get yourself lunch. Go to the grocery store. Take a look. Take a taxi. All of them take Bitcoin Cash. So it's hard. El Salvador did things kind of backwards. They had a tiny little community, very, 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 very small. It wasn't even using Bitcoin necessarily. They were using their own internal Bitcoin Beach app. And then the government mandated everything down.
Yeah, from the top down. They literally crammed Bitcoin down people's throats and then acted surprised when some people said they didn't like, having that happen to them.
Yeah, exactly. Or in St. Martin, it's the other way. All people are using it. It's easy. It's everywhere. And then you can start talking to people who have the sway to make it a legal tender. Not a mandated one, but can make it a legal tender.
Yeah, well, that's what I said last week when I saw the meeting. There was like a little bit of the video in your video at your YouTube channel, Marc Falzon, MarcFalzon, and there's a little bit of an interview with the politician, with Rolando, and he kind of makes this proclamation about accepting taking his full paycheck in Bitcoin Cash, and it made me think, oh, well, what if they do this legal tender there? Obviously, they've got Roger Ver on the island. He's a pretty principled Liberty guy. I imagine he's going to be suggesting hard to this guy to not mandate this, to just go ahead and recognize it and go no further. So are you feeling like that's the direction they might go with this?
Well, look, I mean, we all know how politicians are. So, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch.
Sure.
But based in, what I've heard from Rolando and spending time with him and getting a sense of who he is over a period of a month, and also talking with him, he seems pretty committed to not forcing anyone to use this thing if they don't want, which is exactly what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But we'll see, obviously, what happens, and it may never become a legal tender of the country. It may, and maybe it does in a way we don't like, but it seems like he's pretty committed to doing it the right way.
And are they pretty independent of the Netherlands there, meaning that they're sort of not directly connected to them? I don't know.
I don't know exactly how deep it goes, but I know they do have a pretty wide degree of autonomy.
So they probably wouldn't have to ask the mainland's permission to do something like that.
No, I don't think they need to get permission for that.
Good.
The French side might have to do that, but not the Dutch side. But I'll tell you a quick funny anecdote.
Sure.
Not to get too much bad blood with the BTC side. And if you like BTC, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But when the news got out that Rolando would be taking his full salary in Bitcoin Cash, and also said that he's going to be pursuing making it a legal tender, Samson Mao, who's the ex-Blockstream CSO, and obviously a very big connected person in the BTC world, went on a Twitter rampage claiming that he's going to fix the situation. And it turns out he actually reached out to Rolando and had sock puppet accounts reach out to Rolando to try to warn him and get him out of BCH while there's still time. And Rolando gave me a phone call and was laughing at it, saying, these guys must think I'm new to politics. I know how this works. They're not tricking me.
Wow.
It amazes me that they think they can talk themselves into a monopoly. You can't maintain a monopoly without guns to back it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if your product isn't great and the Bitcoin product isn't very usable as cash as it was intended by Satoshi Nakamoto, and of course Bitcoin Cash and Dash and some of these other cryptos out there do a much better job of keeping fees low and keeping crypto usable. So, you can't, if that's what the experience is that people are having on the ground, no amount of text messaging or Twitter messaging is going to cancel that in people's minds.
And even if they fixed Bitcoin, brought the block size up to something civilized, there's more than one bank in the world for a reason. There's more than one grocery store chain in the world for a reason.
There's more than one credit card
Monopolies are the wrong way to go.
Yeah, it's not even like it's that hard to utilize multiple cryptocurrencies with a multi-currency wallet, just because it's not quite the same thing as U.S. currencies with euros. It's pretty easy to go between the two. You don't have to take it to an exchange in order to convert it. Generally, you can even do it right within your wallet frequently enough. So
eventually, I'd really like to have a wallet-to-wallet protocol where maybe I've got BTC and you want BCH, but there's a market maker out there on the net somewhere who will buy and sell BTC and BCH. So instead of sending directly to you, I send him my BCH and he sends you BTC, or I send him BTC and he sends you BCH.
Mark, do you have time for one more segment?
Oh, absolutely, I do.
More with Marc Falzon here with us. Again, he's been doing some interesting reporting from some of the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash hotspots of the world. We got hour 2 coming up.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can join us here. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. The number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And we will have open phones here in just a few moments. Right now, we're still talking with Marc Falzon. That's MarcFalzon. He's got himself a YouTube channel with some interesting documentary work where he's gone to recently El Salvador and checked out the Bitcoin situation there. For newer listeners, you may not know that El Salvador mandated Bitcoin as a legal tender. And then St. Martin, the Dutch side of the island, has not yet made a move politically on it. But if they do, we're hoping they go in a different direction, which would be from the ground up, and that is allowing people to choose to use Bitcoin Cash. And that appears that people are using Bitcoin Cash to a large extent on the island. And that's what we've been covering with Marc here, kind of getting into the history of what happened, how it was that over 120, I think the last time I looked at map.bitcoin.com, businesses are on board with accepting Bitcoin Cash. And it's pretty impressive. It's a really cool story. If you are just tuning into the show, go grab the archive tonight over at freetalklive.com. You can hear our full discussion with Marc. But I asked you to hang on for just a few more questions, Marc. First of all, is there anything that we should have maybe asked you about the situation there in St. Martin that you want to tell us about that maybe we didn't ask you about?
Off the top of my head, I think the most important elements of this are, again, that people are choosing to use it freely and that the locals are using it. And part of that is a lot of these islands have cruise ships, right? So you have people getting off the cruises and they're hiring taxis, they're hiring, boat taxis. They have the island of Nevis in St. Kitts, which there are two ferries that go back and forth. Both of them, accept Bitcoin Cash. So
nice.
All of these tourists that are getting off the boat that have crypto, it's going to the local economy.
That's
so
a really great point.
Place.
There's really something to be said. I mean, like I said, we live here in Keene, New Hampshire, which is probably the highest accepting Bitcoin, crypto, Bitcoin Cash capital of the United States. I've yet to see anything that even comes close. In many cities, in many big cities, we have more raw numbers than they do, and certainly per capita, we whip them up. But you go into downtown Keene and you see Bitcoin Cash accepted here, Dash accepted here, Bitcoin accepted here, stickers on multiple doors of businesses. That has an impact on people. It creates an awareness that cryptocurrency is real and it's something that they can use. And yeah, I think you're right. With that many people coming in, that's going to have a big impact on the crypto economy.
Right. People are getting off the cruises and spending their crypto. And the small businesses here that accepted the taxis, well, why are you going to convert it back into EC or something like that when you can simply go to the restaurants that you go anyway and spend it? So there's this wonderful circular, I guess, a closed loop that's happening, and it's growing as more and more tourists are coming to this island, as opposed to somewhere like El Salvador, where, let's face it, there's not a lot of tourists going there. In fact, I know a BTC maximalist that I follow on Twitter that canceled his flight to El Salvador because of the killing that just happened with the 62 gang members. So, we have a place here where there's already tourism. There's already people coming with crypto, and they're injecting it. And now the world is hearing that crypto's here. You're also going to get the crypto tourists. So I think they really set themselves up in a wonderful way to enrich themselves in both cryptocurrency, but also in having agency over their own finances, which really is what crypto's about, at least for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a big deal to have that, as you call it, closed loop. I use the term like business to business, when a business owner can take the crypto that they've earned by doing whatever it is that they do and then do something with it rather than just having to hold on to it or hoping that it goes up in value. And they can go and spend it on a vacation. Or one of my favorite examples in town here was there was one of those like local map things where you could go to local businesses, pick up a physical map and find other local businesses in town. One of the guys that designed that started taking cryptocurrency. So of course, he went to the the local businesses that are accepting cryptocurrency and offered them to advertise on the map for crypto. So there was a couple of the local businesses, they had a bunch of crypto that they'd earned over the years, and so they bought onto the map, and then he added like a little Bitcoin logo next to their business, and so it kind of became this little Bitcoin business map in downtown Keene. I was just so excited to hear about these things happening, that we didn't ask to happen. We didn't come up with those ideas. It just happened on its own.
Yeah, that was a really cool map too.
Well, I'll tell you something really exciting that just happened yesterday. So there is a restaurant here called Indian Summer. Really wonderful place on the island of Nevis, and they also have a few locations on St. Kitts. And there's a restaurant supply company that sells your, industrial refrigerators and equipment in Florida, run by a man named Ryan Giffen. And he sells all of his equipment for Bitcoin Cash.
Nice.
So yesterday,
Wow.
he Indian Summer is opening another location, I should say, in St. Kitts, and they purchased all of their equipment from him with Bitcoin Cash.
That's
and it's
amazing.
being shipped with Bitcoin Cash stickers all over it.
That's absolutely incredible. Tell me a little bit about St. Kitts. It's the island just to the south of St. Martin. If you look at map.bitcoin.com, it's got about the same number of businesses on it. Is it like pretty competitive as far as a Bitcoin Cash destination?
It is. The government here moves a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
So probably a few reasons for that. But St. Martin obviously is kind of talking about legal tender status, and kind of a funny thing. One of the things that Rolando said to me was, we're going to beat St. Kitts. As in, we're going to be the first country that has Bitcoin Cash as a legal tender, because that's been something that's been talked about in St. Kitts as it's obviously spread to all the merchants and all the people using it here.
Mm-hmm.
So Rolando wanted to beat them, so we'll see if that happens. But
A little friendly
St.
competition, never hurt anybody. It's good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, I'm really glad that you're out there doing this reporting, Mark, and I feel like we've covered all the bases on this tonight. I appreciate you staying on for over an hour with us. And again, your documentary work is over on YouTube at Marc Falzon, MarcFalzon. You're also on Twitter under the same name. Anything else you can plug for us here?
No, that's pretty much it. Actually, one other thing I'll say is I just put up a new website called usecash.com. And what it does is it helps people who have no experience with cryptocurrency whatsoever, either individual users or merchants, get started using Bitcoin Cash right away, easy, no matter who you are or what level of experience you have with technology.
Great. Thanks for all the hard work out there. Feel free to check back in with me if you've got something to say about India and your experience there. I know that's next on your itinerary of travel. How long are you expecting to stay in the islands, though, for now?
I'm actually leaving in the morning, and funny enough, going to Bitcoin Miami to do some videos there and hopefully have some productive debates.
Ooh, that'll be interesting. I hear there's even I just heard today that there's apparently a Monero conference somewhere in Miami, and then the so-called S-Coin conference across the street. So it sounds like there's a lot going on there this weekend.
That's true. April 7th is Monerotopia, and I'm actually a media sponsor there, so I'll be at that event too.
All right, very cool. Marc Falzon, thanks for joining us here on Free Talk Live tonight. Appreciate your time.
All right, thanks so much.
Yep, check him out. It's got some really interesting documentaries, and it's really fun to watch what's happening there in St. Martin with the Bitcoin Cash. Very, very cool stuff. Highly recommend you check it out. MarcFalzon. I always have to spell it just because it's a hard one for the radio to communicate, and I really enjoyed it. I do want to watch his hour and a half long El Salvador piece. I just started watching it a little
it's
bit
an
earlier.
hour and a half long?
Well, the one about St. Martin's is less than a half an hour, so that one's pretty easy to consume, and the El Salvador one is a full-length, feature-length documentary.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to say about, what is going on down there. And I love how he juxtaposed the top-down, forcing Bitcoin down people's throats authoritarianism of El Salvador with this bottom-up grassroots thing that's going on in St. Martin. It sounds really exciting, and look forward to hearing more of their development And it's good to have some competition. There's more coming up here in moments. You can join us. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
That's it for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the discussion and learned a little bit about why cryptocurrency is spreading in St. Martin, and specifically why Bitcoin Cash is the currency they're choosing rather than another cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Ripple or really anything else. This is really interesting to think about and talk about, especially when you compare it to countries like El Salvador and the Central African Republic, which are choosing to use Bitcoin. Do you think overall it's a good thing that these Caribbean nations like St. Martin are using and adopting Bitcoin Cash? How do you think things are going to shape up in the next 5, 10, or even 50 years? I want to find out what your thoughts are. Obviously, you know what mine are based on the video you just watched. If you want to support my channel and my mission to make crypto less cryptic, you can do so by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing it with any friends or beginners in cryptocurrency that you want to basically get up to speed. I'll talk with you guys later. Thanks so much. You can follow me, by the way, on Twitter at Marc Falzon. And that's it. See you guys next time.